this package, state government unveils plans to renovate 10 public secondary schools into model schools. House of Assembly Committee on Public Accounts reiterates resolve that funds for public projects in Akwa Ibom are judiciously spent. Bid for fifth world title takes Nigeria and Mali today in final FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Chile. Details of these and more in a moment. A very good morning to you. This is AKBC 4:5 AM News. My name is Agnes Udo King Brown. 10 public schools, one per federal constituency, are to be renovated into model schools by the Akwa Ibom government. The Akwa Ibom State Governor, Mr. Domi Emmanuel, announced government intention during the 8th Teachers Award for Excellence, organized by the Inoyo Toro Foundation in New York. Oduaikom has the details.
Governor Dom Emmanuel was guest speaker at the annual Teachers Award for Excellence in Akwa Ibom State Public Secondary Schools, the 8th, organized by the Inoyo Toro Foundation to appreciate and celebrate excellence in the teaching profession. Commending the foundation for consistently holding the innovative awards, Governor Dom Emmanuel pledged the support of the Akwa Ibom State government towards the continuous training of the foundation's award-winning teachers to maximize their potentials. He said it was important to celebrate teachers for bringing out the best in those they teach and mentor, as well as for imparting moral values and ethics in shaping their students' future.
And today, I'm seeing that the reward of teachers is beginning to be here on earth. And I want to reassure you, as the head of the present government, as the governor of this state, will do a whole lot to make sure teachers actually do not just wait for their reward only in heaven, but they should be able to live like those they taught to become MDs, EDs, and all the Ds of this world, while they are still serving us in Akwa Ibom State.
The chairman on the occasion and deputy managing director, This Day Newspapers Groups, Mr. Kayode Komolafe, who spoke on the teachers and their products, described the history of the teaching profession as so depressing. Mr. Komolafe said it was time for individuals and governments at all levels to introduce reforms in the educational sector, teacher education and regular motivation to put an end to incessant strikes by teachers that are struggling for better working conditions.
Essentially, we are faced with an old problem and we are still searching for a solution. Your Excellency, I therefore feel very proud to say that the Inoyo Toro Foundation has commendably elected to be part of the solution by promoting excellence in teaching.
Also addressing the teachers, students and guests at the ceremony, the Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Officer ACP Olabisi Kolawole called on other organizations to replicate their awards in other states to return public schools to their past years of glory.
It shows that here in Akwa Ibom State, you value our teachers and you recognize those who are really making significant contributions in teaching across the state secondary schools and making the experience of learning of our students the best it can be. So I want to say congratulations.
During the ceremony, awards were presented to the first, second and third prize winners in 7 subjects: mathematics, English, biology, chemistry, physics, economics and visual arts. To the chairperson of the Board of Trustees of the Inoyo Toro Foundation, Mrs. Ntekwe Inoyo, the vision and aims of the foundation are gradually being realized as more individuals have joined the foundation's mentorship scheme, taking the motivations programs to more public schools in Akwa Ibom State.
Like I said, we are growing, and this year, you wouldn't believe it, we have 40 people mentoring, 40 people. And when we started, it was 18. So we have more mentors.
Uduakeko reporting.
In appreciation of his contribution to the growth of Akwa Ibom State. The Anang Unity Congress and the Catholic Men Organization, Uyo Diocese, have honored the Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, as a Grand Patron. The awards were presented when the groups visited the Deputy Governor at Government House. Patience John has the details.
The national president of Anang Unity Congress, Elder Udem Akpan, who led other members to the visit, said the honor is to strengthen the bond of friendship between the group and the state government, as well as an expression of support to the state government. Elder Akpan explained that the group is in the government house to demonstrate its commitment to sustaining the mandate given to Governor Udom Emmanuel during the last general elections.
In our short the eventful build-up of existence, the group made the following imprints. 1. The first group to consult, sensitize, and make policy statements on the need for Eket Central District to produce the governor of the state.
Thanking the Congress for the appointment, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, promised that the state government will continue to provide good governance to the people while acknowledging their contributions to the enthronement of the present administration. He called on them to be law-abiding and keep faith with the People's Democratic Party, which provided the platform for the present state government.
That all of you have been behind me even before my appointment as the Deputy Governor of the state. And as I always say to people, I hold this office on your behalf.
Also, the Catholic Men Organization, Uyo Diocese, has intimated the Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, of its 2015 CMO Week, where he is billed as a special guest. An address read by Sir Raphael Edem indicated that the week, which begins on Thursday 12th, will end on Sunday 15th November 2015. The group appealed to the Deputy Governor to participate in the events lined up for the week, while also awarding him the Grand Patron of the Catholic Men Organization in Uyo Diocese.
Your Excellency, the CMO Week is a period set aside by the Church in Uyo Diocese for all Catholic men to come together to thank God for many blessings received during the year.
The Deputy Governor thanked members of the CMO for their services in the Lord's Vineyard, describing them as pillars of the Church. He encouraged members of the Catholic Men Organization to keep serving God, who will bless them accordingly. The Deputy Governor himself, a member of the organization, thanked them for the visit and promised to identify with the week's programs.
Feel free to make contacts. I have an open house, individually and collectively. And if there are anything that you think I can do, there are things you think I can do to facilitate the organization, to make it grow more and more, I'll be quite willing to do it.
The Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly Committee on Public Accounts has reiterated its resolve to ensure that funds made for public projects in the state are judiciously spent. The chairman of the committee and member representing Ikorabasi Eastern Obolo State constituency, Mr. Ududo, stated this when the committee paid an oversight visit to the State Accountant General's Office, the State Auditor General's Office, as well as the Office of the Auditor General for Local Governments. The report is here presented.
Mr. Ududo said the visit was necessary because of the critical functions of the three offices in the release and application of public funds. The committee chairman lauded the Accountant General and the Auditors General for prompt submission of audit reports. He implored them to cooperate with the committee while promising to liaise with appropriate authorities to address the critical challenge of poor office accommodation, insecurity, as well as a work environment which violates the confidentiality of government documents and the offices of the State Auditor General and the Auditor General for Local Governments.
One of the responsibilities of the committee, from time to time, go on side inspection. The budget bill is it in tandem with what is in the budget? You release after being approved by His Excellency.
In his remarks, the State Accountant General, Mr. Nsikan Nkan, commended the cordial relationship between the legislature and the other arms of government, as well as the committee, for its efficiency in the discharge of its mandate of supervising and assessing the processes and use of public funds in the state, while reminding the committee of the realities of the dwindling economy in Nigeria and the world at large. The Accountant General advised Nigerians to cut down on frivolities in their lifestyles, while urging government to embrace counterpart funding to supplement and boost the funds meant for capital projects.
And also want to share in general, specifically, that at any point in time, we will be very much ready to respond to your invitation or issues that you want us to do explanation or verification. We will not be reached. Well, I'm very much sure this relationship is sustained, continuity is sustained. I think the state stand to benefit greatly of it.
At the office of the State Auditor General, the committee was welcomed by staff as well as melodious songs by the religious arm of the Auditor General's office. The State Auditor General, Dr. Monday Akpan, pledged continuous cooperation with the committee, promising that his office would always promptly submit its audit reports for the committee's consideration. The Auditor General, however, noted that their work was greatly by the lack of adequate office accommodation, insecurity, non-computerization of the state auditing processes, as well as a work environment which violates their code of secrecy and confidentiality of government documents. Dr. Mondapan also indicated the Akwa Ibom state laws for emerging audit realities.
To assist us, make a case for us, anywhere you have the link, so that we will move to a permanent accommodation of ours.
At the Office of the Auditor General for Local Governments, the committee was welcomed by the Acting Auditor General, Mr. Francis Udofa, while appealing to the committee to seek ways of ensuring that the office got a permanent accommodation rather than rented apartments. Mr. Udofa also advocated the provision of funds for staff training and capacity building to enable the office keep up of computerized audit processes.
And the present accommodation, as you can see, is less. Let me say, is an eyesore. The building itself, the environment, even the offices, the furniture, we have and equipment are all dilapidated.
The House of Assembly Committee on Public Accounts is a 12-man committee empowered by the Constitution to assess the release and use of public funds.
A pressure group in the state, the Mandate Preservation Group, has asserted that the judgments of the Akwa Ibom Governors Relation Petition Tribunal, exploring the group on to strive to preserve the mandate freely given to Governor Udom Emmanuel by a greater majority of the people. Rising from its meeting in Uyo, the group said, rather than be deterred by the judgments, it is ready to protect the mandate given to the governor at the April 11 polls. The story is presented in our studios.
Speakers applauded the commitment of Governor Udom Emmanuel towards industrializing the state. They noted that within a short span and in spite of lean resources, the governor has prudently managed state funds for the good of all. They particularly commended the training of youth as well as initiation of several industries to be cited in the state.
The work to preserve this mandate has started, and we are all ready to face and preserve the mandate that was given to Deacon Udom Emmanuel by the collective people of Akwa Ibom State.
As far as this MPG is concerned, that we should allow the wings of grace to pivot it. You will find out that as we go forward, some of you will be amazed of the things that will be happening and the height of which NPG will attain.
Mandate preservation groups are this group. Prayer back, set aside to pray to preserve
the mandate of Budimaro.
Others said the recent ruling by the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal will not deter them from supporting the state government. Instead, it will spur them to preserve the mandate given by a greater number of Akwa Ibom people to the governor.
We have all the local chapters up to the unit coordinator, an organization that has been taken right down to the unit in every place in Akwa Ibom State.
The meeting also witnessed the inauguration of an 18-man National Executive Council to mine interface, where Uborobong Umo was sworn in as the national coordinator. The national coordinator of the group, Mr. Uborobong Umo, said the body is a pan-Akwa Ibom organization with membership from the 31 local government areas of the state, aimed at advancing the interests of Akwa Ibom people in all ramifications. He said the group, which is founded on principles of democracy, will support leadership and promote the ideals of good governance while abhorring hatred, rancor, and all forms of bigotry.
Within the period of our existence, we have selflessly worked to justify the essence of our evolution, and we shall stop by nothing to take the message of the present administration to the nooks and crannies of our state.
Earlier, the chairman on the occasion and a former member of the State House of Assembly, Obong Satodakban, commended the initiative of the organizers of the group, encouraged them to work hard to foster unity in the state, as well as charged them not to be distracted from their goal of protecting and preserving the mandate of the present administration.
So for a group that has just emerged, promote, project a government, those groups need to be encouraged.
The news continues after the break. Stay with us.
Is a land of great beauty and a wonderful people. Here, Mary Slessor called home until she passed on to greater glory. Here, Lord Lugard lived and administered Nigeria. The hills roll like the waves, and the waves rise like the hills. A land named after God, Akwa Ibom State, the land of promise. Welcome to Akwa Ibom, the land of promise.
Welcome back. Residents of Numukoritam in Itu local government area have sent a Save Our Souls message to the state government over the flood that has ravaged the village. Speaking with AKBC 45 News after Thursday's early morning downpour, some residents said that the flooding, which they attributed to lack of drains and runoff from a project site, has become a recurring phenomenon in Numukoritam, with attendant health and loss of property. Elijah Edet reports.
Worldwide Mission 41 Mission Road at Numukoritam is one of the structures seriously affected by the flood, which, according to the General Overseer of the Church, Apostle Imeuyire, has destroyed much of the church property, including musical instruments, carpet, books, and office documents. The General Overseer regretted his fears that the church building, which gulped millions of naira, may no longer be safe because the incessant floods may have affected its foundation.
Because of no drainage, no gutter. And young can it is a temple anniversary special hospital. I have a enemy. It's a temple. You don't go here. Maybe I'm carrying in Mumbo. Maybe I'm paying.
He said that efforts to contain the flooding has drained the church financially. Residents allege that many tenants have moved out of the area as a result of the flood, which has destroyed livestock and buildings in addition to restricting movement. the Nungukaritam youth leader, Mr. Idonsu Udoawa, and others who called on state government to come to their rescue, describing the situation as causing them sleepless nights.
See the way I'm picking my child to the school, from the school. Now they cannot walk on this water. My house there is nothing that is good. No drainage, nothing. Everything has to be outside. I don't know where to sleep today. The erosion is fooling all this place. So please, we are begging on the government to come to our assistance. Please.
Because of last week, I would we don't have any way to go.
Ikorefre Edemeya in Ikorabasi local government area witnessed an influx of mourners, sympathizers and politicians who surround the community for the funeral of late Elder Kwanet Udo Ukwe. The event, which took place at the primary school Ikorokpok, was conducted by the Methodist Church Nigeria Ayasekit, Diocese of Ikorabasi. In a sermon, the Prelate Emeritus of the Methodist Church Nigeria, Dr. Sandembang, spoke on the theme, Deny Self, said self-denial was expected of all Christians, and emphasized that denying self means being your brother's keeper, loving your neighbor as yourself, while seeking the kingdom of God. Prelate Emeritus Mbang stressed the need for Christians to emulate Christ's example, noting that without self-denial, Christians will not enter into the kingdom of God.
Why don't we talk to each other about our death? I want to challenge everybody here present. There are no so you go for a woman, a wedding,
In a biography, a son of the deceased, Mr. Torupe, described the father, late Elder Kwanupe, as a man of the merit and integrity in his private and public life. The biography notes that late Upe held numerous positions in his community, church and state, among them President Mbon Edemeya, Obon Ekwe Edemeya, Commissioner, Public Service Commission in the Southeastern and later Cross River states.
In recognition of his numerous contributions to the development of the Edemeya community, the humanity in general, Obon Ekwe was honored with a chieftaincy title, Obon Ekwe Edemeya, by Edemeya Clan Council of Chiefs, and has received several awards from many other bodies and organizations.
In an interview with AKBC 45 News, the state chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Paul Ekpo, said that late Obon Akwanupe was hardworking and faithful in his work and urged other Edemeya indigenes to emulate and sustain his legacies.
Wonderful children, wonderful life left behind. The legacy is shown here today by even the people coming to bid him farewell.
A son of the late Obon Ukpono and daughter, Dr. Gideon Kumofia, described the father as a prayer warrior and a man that stood firmly by what he believed. Several choir groups ministered at the funeral in recognition of the late Obonque's contribution to the growth of the church. His remains were later interred in his residence, Ikorefre, in Edemeya. Friends, relatives and stakeholders in the transport sector gathered at St. Anne Catholic Church Ifor in Ikorekonel government area to pay their last respect to renowned transporter, Chief Philip Ekanam Ekwere. He died at the age of 91. AKBC News was there for the following reports.
The remains of the late Chief Ekwere, popularly known as Obonwana, arrived at the church premises in a motorcade and was received by the bishop, flanked by the cathedral administrator, parish priest, and hierarchy of the church. The officiating priest, who preached on the theme, "Those who lie sleeping in the dust will awake," called on Christians to live their lives according to biblical precepts. According to the biography, the late Chief Ekwere was a local government councillor and one-time chairman of the Ikot Ekpene Motor Park. He reckoned with as one of the biggest landlords in Ikot Ekpene and one who contributed immensely to the building of the cooperative multipurpose hall. In a condolence message, the Ifo Village Council urged the bereaved family to be consoled by the fact that the late Chief Philip Ekanem Ekwere led a life worthy of emulation.
Ifo Village Council hereby sympathize with you and your family and share together the drama of the sad loss.
He's been a big landlord. He's been a great man for reality.
His father was a great man. I grew up to know him as a father. He was so good. He was a hardworking man, very diligent in anything he does.
The service featured renditions by the Cathedral Choir and the Mother Mary Choir. The late Chief Ekwere is survived by his wife, Madam Francisca Philip Ekanem, his son, Sir Emmanuel Philip Ekanem, and many relations, among them Mrs. Itoro Akate of AKBC.
President Muhammadu Buhari reaffirms his administration's commitment to training Nigerian youths. Nigerian Golden Eagles slug it out with Mali in the finals of the FIFA U-17 World Cup today. Mr. Kare tells us more in a national and foreign news segment.
In a move to block the influx of foreign construction workers into Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Federal Ministry of Works and Lands, Housing and Urban Development to come up with a plan of action for speedy revitalization and expansion of the nation's vocational training centers that will produce qualified and competent indigenous construction workers. President Buhari reaffirmed his administration's commitment to educational and vocational training of Nigerian youths to meet the current demands of the labor market. The Nigerian government is proposing a budget of about 8 trillion naira for 2016. This was disclosed by Vice President Professor Yemi Oshimbaju, who explained that the budget process will be zero-based, a method of budgeting by which all expenses must be justified for each new budget year. Sierra Leone has been declared Ebola-free by the World Health Organization, prompting nationwide celebrations tinged with sadness over the loss of 4,000 victims to the disease.
I feel happy because consider it the end of a journey that has been very difficult.
In the capital, Freetown, an ecstatic crowd took to the streets to celebrate. The WHO confirmed that 42 days had passed without any new cases of Ebola, thereby satisfying the criteria that transmission of the virus has ended. Sierra Leone will now enter a 90-day period of heightened surveillance to make sure the virus does not return. The Nigerian Golden Eaglets have booked a place at the finals with fellow African country Mali in the ongoing FIFA Under-17 World Cup. The Golden Eaglets qualified for the finals match after defeating Mexico by 4-2 at the semi-finals. Mali on its part defeated Belgium by 3-1. The Nigerian Golden Eaglets, a 4-time champion, will be battling against Mali on Sunday by 11 p.m. Nigerian time, while Mexico will slug it out with Belgium for the third place.
That is it on our package. You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45EU or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. Before we go, a look at the major stories. 10 public schools, 1 per federal constituency, are to be renovated into model schools by the Akwa Ibom government. Governor Udom Emmanuel announced government intention during the 8th Teachers Award for Excellence organized by Noyoturo Foundation in Uyo. The Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly Committee on Public Accounts has reiterated its resolve to ensure that funds made for public projects in the state are judiciously spent. The chairman of the committee, Mr. Udodo, stated this when he visited the paid oversight visits to some government departments. That is it on our practice this morning. Thanks for watching, and we're wishing you a wonderful Sunday.